All right, today we're going to tackle something I think we all feel, that constant brain fog. We're going to go on a journey from that hazy feeling all the way to a blueprint for building a life with real, actual clarity. So let's dive in.
So, does this sound familiar? You know that feeling. Your brain is just in a constant fog. You feel totally overwhelmed, like you're being pulled in a million different directions at once. Even simple stuff feels like you're wading through mud. You know what you should be doing, but, man, the motivation just is not there. Trust me, you are not alone in this.
So, what is actually happening here? Well, the first thing you have to get your head around is this. Our brains, they're being actively hijacked. The modern world, it's basically a battlefield for our attention. And honestly, we're usually outgunned.
See, our brains are basically running on this, let's call it ancient software. We all have this default mode, what psychologists call System 1. It's our autopilot, right? It's fast, it's intuitive, and it makes thousands of little decisions for us every single day without us even thinking about it. And that is exactly what multi-billion-dollar companies have engineered their products to capture. It's all designed to keep us scrolling, clicking, and, well, distracted.
Here's a good way to think about it. System 1 is the autopilot, just flying the plane, reacting instantly to everything. System 2, that's the actual pilot. You have to consciously wake the pilot up to analyze something complex and make a real, deliberate choice. And here's the problem. Our whole modern environment is designed to keep that pilot asleep, leaving that easily distracted autopilot in charge all day long.
And all this hijacking, it totally messes with our mental models. Those are the internal maps we all use to make sense of the world. You've probably heard the saying, the map is not the territory. It just means our perception of reality isn't reality itself. So when our fast, emotional System 1 is constantly being fed junk food, distorted inputs, our map of our own life gets all blurry and unreliable. And that feeling of being lost, that is brain fog.
Okay, so if the problem is all this digital distraction, what's the first solution most of us jump to? I mean, let's fight fire with fire, right? There's got to be an app for that. But this leads to a pretty interesting paradox.
So the first logical idea is, hey, let's build a tool right on the device that's always in our pocket. An app that could give us some cool visual feedback, track our habits, and, help us get back on track. I mean, on the surface, it makes perfect sense.
But, and this is a big but, this is where you run into some major traps. First off, there's the paradox. You're trying to cure the disease using a tool from the very place the infection started. Second, think about it. If someone's already feeling completely overwhelmed, the last thing they want is another complex app to learn. And finally, from a practical standpoint, building a solid app is a massive, massive project. You could sink months, even years, into coding before you even know if the basic idea actually works.
And this is where the story takes this really brilliant, counterintuitive turn, moving away from all that high-tech complexity and towards something just radically simple. The solution wasn't about writing more code, it was about creating more clarity.
This whole idea is grounded in a really powerful principle called Gall's Law. And what it basically says is that you can't just design a perfect, complex system from scratch and expect it to work. No way. You have to start with a simple system that actually works, and then let it evolve from there. So that begs the question, what does that simple system even look like?
And here it is. This is that simple system in action. And it's not on a phone. It's on a physical whiteboard with sticky notes. It's a three-step pipeline. First, you have the fog. This is your inbox for life. You just dump everything in there that's causing you anxiety, every task, every little worry. Then, and this is key, you enforce a strict bottleneck. Only one, maybe two items at a time are allowed to move to the crucible. That's your doing column. This forces you to focus. And finally, when a task is done, you physically pick up that note and move it to the clear. And that simple physical act, it gives you this tactile visual feedback of progress that just swiping something on a screen can never, ever replicate.
And listen, the reward here is not some cheap, gamified dopamine hit you get from an app. It's something way more profound. It's that deep, earned satisfaction of watching chaos literally turn into order right in front of your eyes. It's that feeling of competence, of having agency over your own life in your own mind again.
Okay, so once you master that simple system, it leads to the biggest aha moment in this whole journey. It's a fundamental shift in understanding what you're really building. See, it's not a game to motivate you. It's a tool to show you what's real. This quote right here, it just nails it. When you're in that brain fog, your intuition is shot. A single bad afternoon can feel like your entire life is falling apart, right?
This system isn't about feeling good, it's about seeing clearly. You're using objective measurement, math basically, to cut right through all that emotional noise.
And that brings us to this key distinction, the engine versus the dashboard. The engine, that's you. That's you doing the actual real-world work, cleaning your room, studying for that test, going to the gym. The dashboard, that's just the system that visualizes the work you're already doing. It doesn't create the momentum. It just reflects it back to you.
And this is why so many of those habit tracker apps just fail in the long run. I mean, you can give yourself +5 intelligence points for reading a chapter of a book, but your brain is smart. It figures out pretty quickly that those points aren't real currency. The novelty wears off, and those bad habits, which offer real, tangible neurochemical rewards, they just win out again.
So instead of using fake points, you build meaningful equations that actually reflect reality. Just look at this example. Your focus points here aren't just based on how many hours you study. No, they're mathematically tied to and limited by your sleep quality. If you get great sleep, your 2 hours of studying yield 1.7 points. But if you get terrible sleep, those same 2 hours are only worth 1.0 point. See? This isn't a game, it's a model of reality. It visually teaches your brain that if you neglect your sleep, you are actively sabotaging your own goals.
So, now with this foundation in place, that simple whiteboard can start to evolve into something incredibly powerful. The ultimate goal here isn't just a to-do list. It's about building a sophisticated, lifelong co-pilot for your mind.
You see, your whole mindset shifts. You're no longer looking for a game to distract you from the fog. You are now the architect of your own personal telemetry system. Think of it like a dashboard for your own biology and psychology, where all the data belongs to you and it's used for one single purpose, to help you make better decisions.
And this system, this personal Jarvis, would have 3 layers. First, you've got the senses. This is all the automated, passive data collection from your wearables, your phone, things you already use. Second, there's the memory. This is like a personal AI database that really understands the connections in your life, the relationship between your sleep, your work, your diet, and your mood. And finally, you have the logic. This is a truly smart assistant that doesn't just react to your commands, but actually anticipates your needs and proactively helps you navigate your day.
But, and this might be the most important point of the entire thing, an AI is just an optimizer. It's not a philosopher. It can only optimize for the goals and the values that you define. So you have to do that hard, manual work first with that simple whiteboard to figure out what a good life even looks like for you. Only then can you give your personal Jarvis a meaningful mission to work on.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. This whole journey, it's not really about building an app. It's about building clarity. And it starts simple, with one sticky note at a time. So the question I want to leave you with is this. If you could strip away all the fog and see just one single part of your life with perfect mathematical clarity, what would you choose to look at first?